I met a majority of you, but if I have not, I will be sure to say hi, probably offline. It's great to have you all here as we share our data and highlights from our family empowerment work this last school year, 22 to 23. And we are recording the session for those who cannot join us. Again, thank you for being here. I am going to have my colleague, Matthew, great teammate, to lead our icebreaker.
Hey, thank you, Gia. I am unmuted, just making sure. For everybody who does not know me, I am the Associate Director of Family Empowerment here at SchermCo. And so to get things started, we'll start it off with an icebreaker. I like to do things that kind of help us know each other a little bit more. I feel like that's how you build good relationships, when you know people. So with that being said, if you could drop in the chat box, or you can share it out loud, whichever you prefer. What is your name? What organization do you represent? And 2 interesting facts about yourselves. If I could give you an example of the 2 interesting facts about myself. One is that I'm a first-generation American. And then the second fact would be I played in the NFL. So that's just 2 random facts about me. Feel free to share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. But that's how we'll break the ice. We'll take a few minutes to do that.
I will go next. My name is Brenda Alston Hassan. I am the assistant principal at Bruns Avenue Elementary School. 2 interesting facts about me is, my first fact is I am a lifelong cheerleader. I cheered until my knees gave out. I cheered as a little girl, elementary school, high school, and college. And another interesting fact about me is I'm an avid seafood lover. I tell anyone, if it's in the sea, I will try it once. Anything that comes from the sea, I will try it once.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. I didn't know that about you, about seafood.
I can go next. My name is Ricky Bauer. I represent Atrium Health, and the 2 interesting facts about me is I was born in the jungle. On my mom's way to her midwives, she gave birth, and so she just pressed up against the tree and gave birth to me and walked me to her midwives. I was born in the Philippines, so I'm half Filipino. And then I guess the second interesting fact, which is only interesting if you know me, is I play rugby. So if you know me, then you would be like, oh, how? And when my dad found out, he kind of laughed about it. But so those are the 2 interesting facts about me.
That is cool. Thank you for sharing. And thank you to all the folks in the chat sharing. Appreciate that, and learning a lot about everybody as we're going. So feel free sharing. We're gonna keep going for the next couple minutes, and then we'll keep moving throughout our webinar.
Good morning. I am Lakeisha McCauley. I'm the CEO of FHG Health and Wellness. I'm a registered nurse, really excited to be here and continue to learn about the wonderful work you all are doing. Interesting fact would be, if it's peach, it's for me. I love all things peach. And I'm right along with Brenda as it relates to seafood. I would try anything in the sea. I'm so glad that I do not have a seafood allergy. So it's nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I think we might need to have our next happy hour at a seafood restaurant.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Avi Vega. I'm the Business Solutions Manager at the NC Works Career Center. Happy to be with you guys today. I love the work that SchermCo does, and I love partnering with Gia on her, on the different events that we do out in the community. 2 quick things. One, I am one of 8. I have 7 siblings, and the other thing is I start Christmas very early each year. Our Christmas actually begins next week when we go tag our tree at the tree farm. So people think I'm a little over the top with it, but it's just an annual tradition. So great to be here with everyone. If anyone here would like to connect with me to talk about resources available to your business through the NC Works Career Center, you can certainly get my information from any of our friends at SchermCo.
Thank you, Abby. Once again, appreciate everyone sharing. I think we're going to keep it moving. But feel free to continue to introduce yourself and talk about the things that that are interesting about you in the chat. Pass it back to Gia.
Thank you, Matthew. All right, so SchermCo Family Empowerment Team. You all have seen me. I'm Gia Limbothy. Matthew Gibson led our icebreaker, and the famous Greg Schoenbeck is also here. Greg, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Gia. Good morning, all. Great to be here. And thanks again for the interest and support of the work. But yeah, this really goes out, all credit to Gia and Matthew for leading this work the past 2 years. And of course, all of our school partners and families and community partners that come together with us to build community to support higher levels of family empowerment across the community. So thanks so much for being here. And, I'll be around for any questions, but Gia and Matthew really kind of take us away and lead the session for us today.
Thanks, Greg. All right, so before we dive into family engagement, family empowerment data, I wanted to share these definitions that we have so you all can read about family engagement. And we measure this with schools through using strong communication methods and strategies, creating a welcoming environment, and connecting students and families to community resources. And that's why there are a lot of community partners on this call as we are sharing data from the last school year. And the work that we do at SchermCo, we call it family empowerment. So really pushing families' knowledge and skills and making sure those skills are strengthened, and engaging families in the planning, leadership, and meaningful volunteer opportunities. So if you have any questions, please chime in. Please feel free to stop me or anyone speaking. You can use the chat to ask any questions you may have. We're happy to elaborate on more data. Happy to provide you with more details. And as Greg alluded to earlier, thank you to our 22-23 Family Empowerment School partners. We supported 16 partners last school year, and we will be supporting anywhere between 16 to 20 partners this school year. So excited for that. And of course, could not have done our work without the support of Wells Fargo and TIAA through their grant funding and volunteer support. So our family empowerment model and approach, we go through this 4 phases of internal discovery, committee formation and planning, implementation, and having deliverables / next steps. We will go through all 4 of these phases and present you with data today, as well as insights. So I want Miss Brenda to start on how she feels the importance of family empowerment comes into play in her role as assistant principal at Bruns Avenue Elementary School, and anything else she's like to share.
So as an assistant principal, I always, this is my 3rd year here at Bruns, and I started at Ashley Park. And what I always say is that you have OGs in the work, right? And so for some of you, I'm a woman of a particular age. So if anyone doesn't know what an OG is, that's your originals. And so I consider myself an OG of this work, of this family empowerment. Based on, I was first introduced to this at my previous school, Ashley Park. I always tell the story, it started out something that I did not know what I was stepping into, but yet the charge was placed upon me. And so I came in at that time, I was a dean of students, and I was placed to really look at our family at that time, what I saw as engagement, their involvement in the school, and how we were actually bringing our families into the school. And at that point, it was more of what I would call a traditional kind of track where, you know, you do those curriculum meetings and they come in and you get a little juice and a little cookie. And then they'll show the nice little PowerPoint and the principal would say cutesy things and the teachers would stand up there and talk about all the stuff that parents should do. And that was it. And so as you can, you know, as we all know, if you've been in the work, it didn't really attract our parents. And so at that time, the principal was like, hey, I'm going to connect you with someone, i.e. Greg, and we're going to really improve this work. And so through the family engagement, I'm using that at that time, just getting parents involved. We weren't at a place of empowerment. We were seeing average numbers come through, just average numbers such as, you know, the same 10 families that would come through, because once again, those 10 families that have our high flying students, those who are doing well, the parents are always going to connect, right? We were missing those parents of those families who we really needed there. And the very first thing that was different about the work was that parent survey, because what that did is it opened up the voice, and this is where the empowerment came in. Before we were just engaging, right? We were just having parents come in based on what we thought was good. But the empowerment came in when we started sending out those surveys and start listening to what the parents wanted. And from that, we started to see increases of our numbers, because we started to move away from the principal standing up there talking about all the great things that was going on to actually involving more community partners based on what the parents said they wanted. Started hearing more voices from our students. And from that, we started seeing increases of maybe those 10 really solid families to almost like 200 to 300 people attending our events. It was exciting to see. It was some great work, and it really did become empowering, right? And then when I became the assistant principal here at Bruns, the first thing I told my principal is we have to get SchermCo over here. And he was like, what you talking about? What do you mean SchermCo? Who are they? What? How are you connected? What kickback you're getting? And I was like, nothing. I said, it's just great. And once again, coming from a traditional type of setting, I started explaining to him the work that we were able to do. And lo and behold, it is sustainable. I will tell anyone this work is sustainable and it is transferable. And so same kind of deal was going on here at Bruns. I'll never forget the dean of students was like, at that time, she was like, we never get our parents out here. We're happy to get 20, right? I was like, okay, just follow me. You'll see what happens. And so started getting, you know, we got SchermCo involved, started planning these events, got the surveys in, start listening to our parents. That's the empowerment, right? And now on average, we have close to 100 to 200 families that actually attend our events currently. So the data shows what's happening with SchermCo is very innovative. You know, I'm always asked the question, could you do this without SchermCo? My answer is always no. You know why? Because what we would do is we would go back to what's most comfortable, which is let's show this PowerPoint, let's give this juice and cookies. The principals stand up there, kind of do what we do. Teachers kind of do what you do. But the voice that would be missing is that of the families. And that's how you get them into your schools. And so whenever they ask me that, I would say, no, not without SchermCo, because SchermCo actually pushes us and makes us lean in to make sure we are going to empower our families. Anything else?
Thank you, Brenda. We did get a question in the chat. Thank you, Ricky. So we partner with schools that are from CMS district and also some charter schools. So we predominantly serve Title I schools across Charlotte. We did serve a school in Hawaii last year and another school in Durham. So hopefully that's good context for you. Again, any other questions you have, feel free to drop it in the chat. As Brenda mentioned earlier, we always start with internal discovery, and that means listening to our families. So in the last school year, we collected 2,133 surveys from families in the fall. So these are pre-surveys. This is before we do any events with schools. We want to know what is it that parents are asking for themselves as an adult, and then for their students. We are also tracking the perceptions, engagement, and confidence levels of parents. And out of these pre-surveys, we saw these trends. So the top trends for families, we saw physical health and exercise, housing assistance, and also financial education. And because of those things, we were able to partner with community organizations like the YMCA, like the Met County Health Department, like Parks and Rec, Dream Key, Commonwealth Charlotte, and CCEE to provide these resources for families. We also saw other top requests, mental health, access to technology, and job training. So again, we were able to partner with community health organizations like Charlotte Community Health Clinic, E2D, who distributed laptops at a reduced cost, Goodwill and NC Works, shout out to Abby for providing career training and career development opportunities to our parents. And then in terms of resources for the students, we saw a surge of out of school time programs. So that's your before school programs, after school programs, and summer programs or summer school programs, homework help and tools, academic support for reading and for math. Any questions you have about our data and top trends from the pre-surveys last year? And then from there, we're able to form a FEC or a Family Empowerment Committee and start planning for events that are catered towards our families. So we try to form a Family Empowerment Committee at each school. Sometimes we come alongside a PTA or PTSA or PTO or any version of that, and help the school plan. So I do want to tap in to a parent leader, Kiba. She was a great leader in the work, and we were able to work alongside at Coolwood STEM Academy last year to do some of the things that we had done. So I'm going to pass it to Kiba to talk more about her experience and how this Family Empowerment Committee, we were able to lift her voice.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kiba Young. I'm the mother of Sir Brandon Marklin. He's a rising eighth grader at Coolwood Middle. I wanted to get involved with the school and didn't know about SchermCo. I just happened to go to the school for something, and there was an activity going on, and there was a table for SchermCo and a sign up for parents who were interested in joining the Family Empowerment Committee. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, because the school, prior to my son becoming a seventh grader, hadn't had any engagement with the parents as it relates to involvement, as far as ensuring parents were well resourced or connected to resources. So I joined, and then also I'm affiliated with a political organization as well. So it helped. I guess it was my wraparound, actually. And what I learned, or what I experienced with SchermCo, was like none other. We were able to, as parents, it was a no judgment zone, free to talk, free to come up with decisions without pushback. I felt that we were empowered to make decisions that would impact the other students. And although we were small, we got a lot done. And we were able to do this with like a lack of support from the school principal and teachers. It was mainly just us, wanting to improve the lives of our children, plus the children that were within the school. We had stand-in meetings. Most of the work happened in real time, which freed up a lot of our time. What else we did? We planned events, and we were connected to like financial resources, which has never happened at Coolwood at the time. And what's so ironic is that Coolwood chose not to go with SchermCo this year, but they did start something else that's similar to SchermCo, but they're using the same model that SchermCo used as far as having stand-in meetings, asking parents what we should do, how we should do it. So I guess in a nutshell, they're getting the school or the administration to do what they should already be doing and move forward with it, which as you think about it, CMS shouldn't need someone else to tell them how to move forward with parent engagement. But you know, everybody needs a little help from time to time. But that was my, oh, you know what? We went to training. There was something called PLI, Parent Leadership Institute. It was a 2-day event here in Charlotte. And there were people who came from California, from New York. And it was a 2-day event where they taught us how to become better parent advocates. And there were breakout sessions, there were seminars, and the opportunities for us to chat among other parents, and also not just other parents, but parent advocates. And from there, we were able to just not impact. From that experience, we as parents were able to share with other parents within the schools, our friends, our family, our colleagues. We were able to share that information and just help free up some of these people's money. And that was another thing that when I say about making sure we are well resourced, meaning they had the Commonwealth financial people come in and talk about home buyer or budgeting. These are all things that can build generational wealth and
real women are impressed
and increase the social economics or social mobility of the families. So for me, I would recommend SchermCo for all schools in CMS, not just all schools in CMS, but all schools in the state of North Carolina. And I believe I'm a better person for that. So I thank you for the opportunity to share my experience. And I believe I covered everything, Gia.
Thank you, Kiba. Does anyone have questions for Kiba? And I do know I was moving a little bit fast. So Ricky, to answer your question about mental health, the need was, yes, access and also awareness. We're learning that a lot of the families we support tend to be underinsured or uninsured. So with mental health support, if you don't have the right insurance, it's hard to get that mental health support. And Kate, thank you for your question. We found that a lot of the families were just wanting more reading support. So us passing out books for families through our partnership with Promising Pages, families found that really helpful. We also help schools with like reading curriculum nights or math curriculum nights as well. But in terms of reading curriculum nights, we're able to show families what they can do with their students at home and just really bridging that gap.
I have a question.
Yes, Tyra.
For either of the two ladies who just spoke, how have you been able to sustain your participation and engagement with your families?
I'll start. It's like I said, once again, going back to that partnership, and it all starts with the surveys, which is something that I know as a school administrator, we would not have time to do, i.e., which is why I appreciate us being able to have SchermCo here. So the sustainability and actually the increase of it is coming from that of the surveys, because it's very detailed down to what day of the week do our families prefer to have events. Like in most traditional schools, you would think it would be what day? A Wednesday? No, probably not Wednesday, but probably like a Tuesday, Thursday. But what we found with our families is they prefer to have events on Fridays and Saturdays. So adjust, yes, right? And even the time, like they prefer a Friday and Saturday, a Saturday morning, or a Friday evening. And so understanding that and getting that information from the connections we have with SchermCo, them actually collecting the data, because all we do is just collect the surveys. They come in, Matthew is our point person. So Matthew will come in, disaggregate all the data and share all the information with myself as well as the committee. And from that, we just start the work. And so that's how we've been able to sustain it and grow it, because we continue to listen to what the families want.
And I parrot what she says. Ours was in real time. We pretty much handled everything on the call. We wasn't making huge leaps and bounds. It was the small things that made the greatest impacts. And that's how we sustained ours. And it was worth being there because we were able to, Gia had I don't know what her fascination is with data, but Gia sends the survey results. And for us parents, seeing progress, that helped keep us engaged and knowing that we were doing something that hadn't been done. So creating history. So people love being a part of, to say I was the first to do this. And we were able to say that for, you know, the last school year. And that's what kept me involved. And the information is so rich, it's so impactful, and you want to be a part of it. And I'm not trying to be like a whole Gia fan, but she is so dope. Like, she gets things done. She knows how to do the art. She knows how to make it look cute and appealing. She's there. She's on time, and she's understanding. And those things help a parent, especially a working parent, know that things are getting done, but it's being done professionally and polished. It's all clean. And it's done with, you could tell that she has that heart of Thanksgiving, that she really cares about the kids. So when you see people who care more about your kid close to how you care about your child, you would want to stay engaged and locked in with that. So that's my take on why I stayed engaged and how we were able to sustain ourselves, because we saw the progress we were making through the data.
And I mean, the entire team is amazing. Like, I had the privilege of starting with Greg, right? And so from Greg to Gia to Matthew to, and I see his picture on the screen, last name James, everyone that I've encountered has been, and everyone knows I have very high expectations. And so they've all met that. I have yet to meet anyone that has not met those expectations and or not exceeded it from what I even thought it could be. So it is something that is just running through all things SchermCo.
And I like to add to that, it's on our team, on our side, it's about listening to the families. So the fact that like we're able to listen to families' voices and hear more from what is it that you guys need and want, we're happy to be able to honor that request. So it really is a two-way street. Thank you so much, Kiba. With the Family Empowerment Committee last year, we formed 4 Family Empowerment Committees with partner schools. So these are new Family Empowerment Committees with parent participation. Facilitated a total of 30 Family Empowerment Committee meetings that have parents, students, and even staff coming together to review this family-related data, co-planning upcoming events. So if we want a family empowerment night that's focused on health and wellness, because that's what the survey tells us, we're then able to ask these parents and students and staff, well, is it do you guys want like a yoga and mindfulness class? Or do you need to get connected to community health clinics in your neighborhood? So just having that, being very specific. And overall, we had 204 total attendees at the Family Empowerment Committee meetings last year. So we talked about committee formation. We talked about some of the planning. Next, we're going to go more into our implementation of these events and how we were able to do these things. So this is a sample event agenda. We learned that unique titles really help, having time frames really help, families engaging directly with community partners and them creating those relationships. Some titles that we were able to, can't say we came up with these on our own. Walk a Day in Your Child's Shoes. I think that was, that's Sugar Creek Charter Schools signature event. Family Finances came alongside with Commonwealth Charlotte to do that. Workforce Readiness Training, that was the Goodwill, and Community Resource Fair did a lot of those last year. So we have 5,000 people attended 50 family-focused events in the last school year. And we do collect exit tickets at the end of events. That way we can collect those data, understand, and go deeper on what is it that families need and want. What else do they want? Now that you get a taste of this, where can we go further? So we collected 789 exit tickets. We were also able to support families with their economic mobility journeys, as Kiba mentioned earlier. So through our connection with Commonwealth Charlotte and also NCCEE and a few other partners, 520 families took advantage of financial education opportunities through programs and resources, whether they had attended like a family finances event, a financial education workshop, or something similar. And then 333 of those families reported an increased confidence in managing their finances. And 300 of those families were able to increase their savings, averaging around $109.8. Again, any questions you have, feel free to drop it in the chat. I know Greg and Matthew are both monitoring the chat, so thank you both so much. Next, I want to tap into Ms. Graham to talk more about our partnership with Sugar Creek Charter, but also our financial education workshop that we were able to do at the end, towards the end of the last school year.
Okay, hey guys. I am Mrs. Graham. I am so blessed to be a part of our Zoom this morning. Nice to meet you all. I am tasked with talking about one of our awesome events that we had last March, but I do just want to give a little bit of background about one, my school, and two, our partnership and how it has evolved over the past now 3 years, because time goes by really fast. Okay, so as the screen says, I am the Chief of Instructional Support and Family Engagement. I will tell anybody my favorite part of my job is the family engagement piece. That is what gives me the energy that I need to get through each day, and that's where my heart is. Just a bit about Sugar Creek Charter. We are in Charlotte, right off of North Tryon and Sugar Creek. We are one of the oldest charter schools in North Carolina. We've been established since 1999. We have a huge population. We are a K-12 school serving about 1,500 students. So after COVID, we really wanted to look at what we could do to reconnect with our families and empower and engage our families. And lo and behold, SchermCo came in and was an answered prayer. So we have been partnering again with SchermCo for, this is our 3rd year. And I've had the privilege of not just working with, but just getting to know Greg, Matthew, and Gia. And the thing that I really love about our partnership is that I can be just as honest and just be myself. And they know that. I'm going to say, like, this is not okay, when things are not okay with me. And I'm going to say, hey, you're rocking it out when things go extremely well. And our partnership has sustained and will continue to sustain because of the great relationship that we have. It's nothing for me to text Gia and Matthew 2-3 times a week, always very responsive and just great people to work with. So thank you guys. Okay, so one of the many events that we had last school year, it was actually in March, was a financial literacy seminar. It came as a response of our surveys. One of the highest things that our families discussed needing and wanting was just some more information about how they can learn more about budgeting, how to be financially secure, what do they need to do to teach their children, and SchermCo was able to partner us with Commonwealth. It was a great turnout, and the thing that we, the leadership at Sugar Creek really liked is that not only did it involve our families, but our staff was there too. It was all hands on deck. We had food, kids were there, we filled the cafeteria. But one thing that we always really try to be intentional with our families is that it's not a one and done thing, and it wasn't. So a lot of our families have continued the partnership that was built that night with Commonwealth, still working with that group, that organization, to build financial stability in their lives. They were assigned financial advisors, a financial plan, budget, and things like that. So we just really appreciated the opportunity. We appreciated that Commonwealth, the presenter, was very down to earth and met everybody on the level that they were. So let me look at my notes. Yeah, I think that's it. So, you know, again, my biggest takeaway is just like everybody's been echoing today. The work that we're doing is not just to engage our families, but taking it a step further and empowering them and listening to their voices and their needs and things like that. So we're just very, very appreciative of SchermCo for the collaboration and the continued partnership. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mrs. Graham. Love working with you, and I miss working with you. Again, any questions you all have, feel free to drop in the chat. And about student outcomes, I am getting there. So we were able to collect 1,683 surveys at the end of the school year in spring/summer. This is just a snapshot of some of that data. So we were able to see average increases across all our schools, across elementary, middle, and high school partners. Again, this is family engagement, so it is how the family is engaging with the school. And we do have family empowerment data.
Gia, may I talk a little bit about how our academic data increased just in one year by me bringing SchermCo over as one? Well, there's many data points, but it's one that was very important to us as a school.
Of course.
So in full transparency, when I first started here at my current school at Bruns, our end of grade proficiencies, school composite, that means students that were scoring 3s, 4s, and 5s, was at 8%. We had an 8% composite of students passing EOGs 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So as you can imagine, coming in, myself as well as the principal, we had to put many things in place quickly to get the dial to move quickly. In 1 year, and I do contribute the work that we did with SchermCo, because once again, as we all know, we have to get our parents connected for academics to grow. So in 1 year, in working with SchermCo, like I said, SchermCo in connections to other things, but I will loop SchermCo in. We went from 8% to 21%. In addition to that, for the first time in the school's history, we exceeded growth. So it all connects. So if there's anyone out there wanting to know how this connects academically, it all connects academically, because you're getting more families in, you're getting them more involved. They are beginning to hear more about what's happening in the school, and they're able to make better connections as far as that school home connection. So yes, it does translate over to the academic side too.
Thank you, Brenda. And to your point, we are looking at school performance data from the last school year from our school partners, and we're going to do a comparison. I don't have that data today to present to you all, but we are working on this, and we should have that by mid-November. So individual school highlights. And I'm just highlighting some of the schools that have grown a lot. Both Sedgefield and Durham Charter were actually in the second year partnership with them last year. So being able to see this growth is amazing. Have more individual school highlights. Brendan, here's a shout out to you for Bruns. And also at Movement Eastland, we saw some more increases. This is for middle school, and I do have another slide on high school right after this. So at both Harding and Garinger, it was our first year partnering with them last year, and we saw great increases. I think the common misconception is that high school families are less engaged and less involved, but we have seen these families being more involved in terms of attending an event or communicating with their teachers about their students' progress. And we do have time for final questions, thoughts. So I am going to keep my mouth shut until a question comes through, or if anybody else wants to talk more about any data they saw at their school and how family engagement empowerment has helped that increase student outcomes.
Hi. Do you guys have any suggestions for workshops that would help empower parents into the school for advocating for the students and how to help students at home?
Thank you, Linda, for your question. I think Kiba alluded to this earlier. We were able to bring Innovate Public Schools Parent Leadership Institute to Charlotte last year, and that was a power building advocacy workshop to teach parents those skills to learn to advocate for their students. Some of the things I would like to share in terms of teaching parents to advocate for their students is one, like, do parents know what's going on? Like when we talk about parent-teacher conferences, do parents have talking points? And I come from a middle school math teacher background. It was always me telling parents, hey, this is what's going on with your student in terms of test scores, their homework and their assignments, et cetera, et cetera. But then the parents were like, okay. I wish parents were able to ask me questions of like, how can they support their students learning at home, right? So those things, perhaps it's giving parents that talking point or different conversation starters, how the teacher can teach parents to support their students learning at home. Matthew and Greg, feel free to chime in here.
Matthew, you want to go? Or you want me to?
Yeah. I'll go.
Okay.
And I'll let you put your thoughts in it. But I think, Gia, what you're alluding to of just allowing parents to know what it is, wishing that parents knew what they needed to know. I think that is always good. I think you're hitting on the right point in that regards. I think that relationship piece is always key. And so when you're able to build those relationships with family, you're able to speak into what their child may need, but also be able to empower them yourselves on how to advocate for your child correctly.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew and Jay. I wholeheartedly agree. We'll just add, Linda, I know you guys are doing this work in Union County, but we think about it as both, like, to Matthew's point, do parents feel comfortable and have the culture and the relationships to even go to the school? And then if they do, what are kind of the tools or the resources we can help use them with like guiding questions or activities or something else that they can ask to advocate for themselves? Because I think most people on this call and our best would agree, all families want what's best for their children and want to advocate for them. But if they don't feel like they have somebody like a Brenda or a Kiba or a Graham at the school that cares and loves them, then they might be more hesitant to advocate for themselves. And so that's why I think the culture piece is so important. And once the culture piece is there at the school level, we naturally see more abilities and opportunities for families to advocate for themselves and what they want for their babies.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
Linda. I do see another question in the chat about digital versus paper surveys. So some of you may know this, but we do have paper copies of our pre-surveys, post-surveys, and exit tickets, as well as Google form versions of those surveys. And we do see more paper surveys coming back. We believe parents, at the end of the day, they like having that pen and paper touch to completing surveys. It's actually more work on our end to then get those paper surveys and put it on the Google form and then have that digitized for our data analysis. I don't know the number of paper surveys we got last year off the top of my head, but I will share that when we share this recording with everyone.
I have one last question. As a result of the work, are you seeing that parents are more willing to help at maybe their feeder schools, or are they just particularly working and being more involved and engaged at their own child's school? So for instance, if there's another elementary school that's not far away, or middle school or high school in the we call them clusters down here, I know in CMS, in the feeder pattern, are you seeing that they're willing to branch out a little bit more to assist other parents to get the work going, or is it just happening at their school?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Tahira, for your question. Yes, we are building these feeder school patterns, as we would call it. And we do see more involvement with our partnership. We do most definitely see more involvement with parents at their student school. I can tell you that when I see surveys at another school come in and I see, oh, I know this family from the last school year at a different school, I'm like, okay, great. I feel like I have an ally at that school to do more family empowerment work. It's, to me, it's still early in the school year to tell you that I am seeing more involvement, but I can definitely, certainly keep you posted on their involvement.
And G, if I could, Tyra, we have one particular parent from a few years ago that started this work that's actually running for school board this year in CMS. And again, we're not necessarily taking credit for much of that, but cool to see, knowing they were so active and engaged in previous efforts. And then I know Ms. Kiba spoke about the Parent Leadership Institute that we brought to Charlotte. And again, don't know, can't necessarily name specifics at the moment, but know there's been a lot of ample conversations and activities from those families outside and after that conference as a result of ways that they could drive change even outside some of the daily family empowerment work. So I think the more opportunities we collectively as a community are able to provide, the more opportunities families are to engage in different ways, even outside their day-to-day school.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can I chime in really quick?
Of course.
Yes,
so she asked if the question was asked if we were the parents open to taking what we were doing at our school to another school? Is that the question?
So I was just wondering if, yes, if the efforts were making such an impact at like one school that parents were willing to go help at another school where there may not have been as much movement and work happening around family engagement. So we have schools in our district where there may be 3 elementary schools in one cluster, and one may be doing great work in it. But I was just wondering, like, if that energy then transferred to another school where parents are kind of in the same communities.
Okay, got it. Now, what I learned from the Parent Leadership Institute is that the best advocate is the advocate who's closest to the problem that is affecting that person, that child, that school, so that it's coordinated, it is specific to the needs of that school. I don't believe the parents that the group I was in was ready for that, because it was so much to do at our school to get that going before moving on to another one. But we did say that SchermCo should be in each school, or starting their I don't know if SchermCo is a process, a program, or a partner. I'm not certain what they are. They just do it all. But we were more so believing that SchermCo should be in each school, or introduced to each school, so that parents can participate and advocate for their specific school and their specific needs related to that school. So that's what I learned during the parent advocacy. And it makes sense, because I would know everything about Coolwood versus River Oaks Academy. And I would know the teachers at Coolwood versus, you know what I mean? So we kept it where we are directly affected by it, because we're the best advocate for what we do know about, our kid in the kid's school. Oh my God, it's so quiet. But I should end it with, in my opinion, in my.
No, that was great. Thanks, Ms. Young. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiba. And Greg did drop an exit ticket in the chat. So again, we love data. If you can please complete this exit ticket for us, we really value your feedback. And if you have more questions, I will be sure to answer those questions when we send out the recording to everyone. And I'm happy to stay here for at least another 5 minutes if there are any more questions.
As I always say, and Matthew knows this, if all hearts and minds are clear.
Same for
Always
me.
in
I
my
gotta
meetings
run.
with
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you,
Has
everyone.
anybody, I have a quick question. Has anybody like created a plan like for the family engagement empowerment? Like how does it all begin and how do you sustain it? And what types of work? There's so many questions I have out there because this is it's pretty new to us. So I'm just wondering if there's like time to get together with other people and talk a little bit more about their experiences and how they, I guess, kicked it off, like, the launch.
Linda, we do. I think I understand what you're asking. So at schools, when we do our family empowerment committee, we kick it off. One, in our pre-surveys, we ask families, do you want to be involved in this committee, right? And the families who say yes, we have their contact information. We send an invite to them. I text them directly. I email them, hey, we're launching this kickoff for our family empowerment committee on this day. We'd love to have you join us. Do you need transportation? Do you need childcare? Because we want the parent to come to the school and participate, right? And so that's one way for us to kickstart that. And we continue to invite parents to join the Family Empowerment Committee. It's not a one-time and done thing. We have the monthly meetings and we keep on having the school to push out the communication. There's a parent meeting. We'd love to have you to join us. I believe Kiba or not, I think it was Natasha, was a different parent at Coolwood. We had one of the Family Empowerment Committee meetings, and we were passing out flyers at the car line to get those families involved and getting them to join like a Zoom meeting. So those are just some suggestions for you to kick off this group.
So because I'm not in a school, it's a little bit different. So I don't have any, like, I could give suggestions to the schools, but how do you, like, does anybody there else like start up at the like the district level or the county level?
On our family empowerment side, we work closer with like individual schools and working with principals. So that it's been a little bit different. And I believe you are, or I know you're at a school district and we're working on like a plan for you all to.
Yeah, so that it'll trickle down to schools, but the up there, like, that's where I'm at. Because I used to do the family engagement in schools, and we did have like lots of events and communications and, flyers, newsletters, social media, phone calls. I worked in a bigger, like, older kids, so there was no car line, but like backpacking the flyers just in case you didn't get it any other ways, you're going to get a piece of paper too. So getting all those things, like giving it like second period, like the attendance periods, because everybody was there, nobody was cutting. So I understand that piece from a school perspective, but I'm wondering a little bit more. I wanted to hear more about a district perspective, like the trickle a little higher, like.
I personally, I don't have that experience working with school districts, but I have seen school districts start like a parent advisory council.
We have one.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. I know Greg came to me this morning and asked, like, do we have any family engagement plans you can share with me? So I'm thinking, just let me think about it for a minute. And
I have been Googling, so I'm not just leaving it all on him. I've been looking to other states and other counties, but yeah, it's very vague out there.
Yeah, because it's hard, right? Like as a school district, you oversee so many schools and each school serves a different set of parents, different set of population, different set of students, right? The geographic regions are different. So it's about getting more, in my opinion, it's about getting more specific on what is it that those parents need and want and understand.
And that's going to be different, like you said, geographically, population, it just.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
and if
I will let you guys think on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know Greg said that he was going to send some things over to you, Linda, but I will also say, I think it kind of starts with that mindset. If you're being at the top, the district level, if you can create that mindset of like family engagement, I think what happens is it can begin to trickle down into the individual schools in different individual ways, but maybe at the very top is creating the template per se for other schools.
And that's where I'm stuck.
Yeah.
That's because I'm very passionate about it. I worked with a lot of parents. I'm a parent, a grandparent. I did a lot of stuff with like ESL, special ed, well, in ECU over here, but over there was, so I'm really passionate about having the voice of a parent included in decision making of a school plan and how they're welcomed and how they're just part of the school community, not the parents over here and the school over here, but like together. But I've always worked in the school setting, so this is the first time for the trickle down. And like she was saying, there's like different populations, different geographical like barriers, and it's not like it's an urban population where transportation is easy to come by. So I'm new to North Carolina, and I'm like, oh wow, you can't even get a train or a bus, so we got a problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway, just putting it out there, if you have other districts that are beginning to work with you in this endeavor, I would love to have an opportunity to also like chat with them and be, in the process. Because it seems right now that I may be the only district, like at most everybody else is a school. Am I wrong on that?
So this work and the data that we're presenting was from the last school year, and we helped the individual schools on their family engagement.
Yeah, so we got our work cut out, don't we?
I will think on that, and I do know there are some school districts that do really well on family engagement. I just can't think of it off the top of my head, but I have
Totally
it.
understand.
I'll share a plan with you.
Thank you so
Something
much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. All right, it is 11:08. I am going to end this. Thank you everyone again for joining us. We will be sending the recording